So verse 19 now. She arose, she went away, laid aside her veil, put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend, the Adullamite. So his friend, this friend of his, is participating in this sin, helping him out with his sin. Again, if you have a friend like that, you need to lose that friend. You don't need friends like that. And he goes to take this pledge to the woman, but he didn't find her. Then he asked around the men of the place, saying, "Hey, where's the harlot who was openly by the roadside?" And the men said, "Well, there's no harlot in this place." So he returned to Judah and said, "I cannot find her." Also the men of the place said there was no harlot in this place. Then Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we be shamed. For I sent this young goat, and you have found her not." So, just Judah has no regret, no shame about his sin. Verse 24, "And it came to pass after about 3 months that Judah was told, saying, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has played the harlot. Furthermore, she is with child by harlotry. So Judah said, bring her here, and let her be burned. Our sin looks a lot worse on others, doesn't it? When it's someone else, we want the harshest possible punishment. But when it's us, we want the mercy of God. Right? When it's someone else, let them burn. When it's us, be merciful to me, O God, a sinner. Right? Galatians chapter 6, verse 1 says, "Brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted." Our goal should always be restoration, not condemnation. And we restore with a spirit of gentleness, considering ourselves. And he says, considering ourselves. The idea is, we could fall into the same sin as this person. We're no better than them. And so we want to be gentle in the way that we restore them. So verse 25 now, Tamar is brought to Judah, and she's sent to her father-in-law, and then she says, "By the man to whom these belong, I am with child." And she said, "Please determine whose these are, the signet and cord and staff." Again, these look familiar to you? This is the guy that got me pregnant. Now look at verse 26. "So Judah acknowledged them and said, she has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah, my son," and he never knew her again intimately, is the idea. What a statement that Judah makes here, that Tamar is more righteous than I. Again, we might look at that and say, well, wait, she acted as a prostitute here. How is she more righteous? Because Judah did not fulfill his responsibility as the head of the household and as the patriarch of the family. And that's how important this was in their culture. Tamar actually is the hero of the story, and Judah is the villain. And so, verse 27, "Now it came to pass at the time for giving birth, that behold, twins were in her womb. And so it was that when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, this one came out first. Then it happened, as he drew back his hand, that his brother came out unexpectedly. And she said, how did you break through? This breach be upon you." Therefore his name was called Pharez, which means breakthrough. "Afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand, and his name was called Zarah. And so from this relationship between Judah and Tamar came twins, Pharez and Zarah. And you may be wondering at this point, why is this even in the Bible? Such a strange story, such an unusual story, such an inappropriate story in some ways, I suppose. Why is this even here? Well, turn with me over to Matthew chapter 1, and we'll finish up with this. Matthew chapter 1. In Matthew chapter 1, we have the genealogy of Jesus Christ. And some of you are thinking, oh, great, you're taking us from Genesis chapter 38 to a genealogy. Like, this is such a step up for us. Now we're going to go through a bunch of names. No. Matthew chapter 1, you have the genealogy of Jesus Christ that shows he's the Messiah, the son of David and the son of Abraham. Verse 1, the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Verse 2, Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judah and his brothers. Look at verse 3, and Judah begot who? Pharez and Zarah by Tamar. And Pharez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram. Tamar and Pharez are in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. They're in the messianic line. The Messiah came through this relationship. The Messiah came through Judah, this guy who has just abandoned his responsibility to his family, this totally carnal, man governed by his flesh, a man who visits prostitutes, a man who has no regard for his family. The Messiah came through him. And the Messiah came through a woman who acts as a prostitute. You would think, at least in our minds, that the Messiah will come through, the most pristine, pure family that's ever lived. There's no trace of sin or anything questionable at all, right? Just this perfect family. But in fact, there are quite a few bad apples in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. There's quite a few messed up people with really messed up stories. There's sinners in the genealogy of Jesus. And let me close with this. You might be here today, and maybe you have a really messed up life. Maybe you come from a very messed up background. Maybe your family is just chaos and just, generations of sin. That's the kind of people that Jesus uses. That's the kind of people that Jesus uses. Maybe you're here, you've made some really bad mistakes. Well, listen, Jesus Christ died on the cross for your mistakes, to redeem you, and then to use you and use your life for His glory and for His grace. It's the grace of God. Right? Grace is undeserved kindness and favor from God. And God chooses you, He chooses me, not because we're so good, not because we've lived this perfect life and we have this perfect pedigree. He likes to choose sinners. And He likes to choose broken people. And He likes to choose people that have made big mistakes. And He forgives them through the blood of His cross. He redeems them. He restores to them all the years the locusts have eaten. And He makes all things new for His glory. So that people look at you and they look at me and they don't say, well, of course God picked him. Or of course God picked her. Look at his perfect life. Look at his perfect family. No, people look and say, wow, what a gracious God we have. That He would use you and He would use me. That He would make us the children of God. Us. You and me. And not only save us and redeem us, but then use our lives to reach other people? Come on. What a gracious God we have.